What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Sit Down Saturday. Today we're going to be talking about the X-Transbots trailer and accessories. I'm going to go over a ton of information regarding it, my thoughts, what those thoughts are based on, and honestly, I don't think it's a money issue, but I will circle back to it. You guys got any snow? We got like 8 inches, so to speak. First, a little bit of house cleaning. The collector critique videos seem to be going over well. We did 2 more for January, so they're going to continue. We have plenty to go through, so look forward to that. And the only other thing that we got to dress up is the Tortor, the Thesaurus from MMC. I heard people saying that their shoulders were weird, and the ratchets, like my ratchets on mine are good to go, and the shoulders work great on mine. So I'm not exactly sure what those criticisms are all about. I don't necessarily get those criticisms. I have my shoulders go out to 90 degrees, big bulky shoulders go out to 90 degrees on a universal, and then like I don't have any issue with that whatsoever. There were a number of people asking about the DJD in the comments. I think I'm going to do a video on the DJD on Monday because honestly we just don't have much toys to look at, and it'll be a little something to talk about. Real quick, I want to give a shout out on behalf of a friend of mine, a very talented tattoo artist, who asked for me to shout out a buddy of his who is making stop motion videos, and I haven't had a chance to check them out yet, but he puts a ton into them, and he's a friend of a friend, and that friend is a very good dude, and birds of a feather tend to flock together. So check out Ultra Marcus when you get a chance. But before we get into the trailer, one more thing. When news like this comes out on a Friday, which it came out last Friday, it's next to impossible for me to get it on Saturday. Like, I plot my week far in advance in order to juggle virtual school, work, videos, podcasts, etc. So sometimes it doesn't happen. Like, we just got this DX9 news. I put something up on the Patreon about it today. I plan on tackling that next week, which moves the Toy World discussion well into 2021. But just to try to explain the method of my madness here. So let's get started. But let's first start with the history of this, because this is something that's been going on now for a long time, and it has a bit of an interesting history regarding it because there's KO stuff involved, there's competition stuff involved, there's QC stuff involved, there's broken promises, and all sorts of things. So we're going to go through the entire history of it just to bring us up to speed. So they first released Breakdown at $40. The reason why this price was so cheap was to smash an attempt at a KO that was being made alongside it. I guess somebody got their hands on the file and was going to make a side swipe out of this Breakdown. And Keith did one of the coolest things in third-party history, in my opinion, which was to cut the legs out from underneath it, sell a really good product at a really good price, take the L on profits, but we never saw the KO. It was obliterated. Then we got the following releases. The other 3 cars were about $70 a pop, with the one exception being $60, and then Motormaster himself was $130, and we were told that the trailer was going to be a separate piece and come with accessories. Now, there is a bit of method to his madness here, right? There is money to be made on the back end, right? Because not too long after this, we got the G1 toy versions, and he started producing the G2 versions. So he's getting 3 uses out of each mold, and while he took a loss on the initial release of Breakdown, he played it smart and made different releases, and they all kind of make sense. The toy versions were good. I imagine the G2 versions are what people would want. It's pretty clever stuff, and he's able to kind of triple his money. There's a phrase that I heard recently saying, don't step over $1 to pick up a penny. And that's exactly what he did there. He did not do. He could have charged $100 for every single one of these cars. He could have. But in order to crush that KO, he undersold them cost-wise, and then was able to sell 2 different versions of all of them later on. He refused to step over the $1 to pick up the penny. So, pretty solid business plan, in my opinion. These were some of the best received X-Transbots products of all time. X-Transbots is now thought of in a pretty high place, and a lot of that has to do with this run. Before this, touch and go. For every blaster they made, there was a Dicka. They are inconsistent at best, and their reputation, although it seems a bit crazy now, their reputation was in the toilet just a few years ago. But this team was incredibly well done, and the price is a big part of why it was so well received on 2 fronts. For one, they were pretty well done, and the price seemed more than appropriate. And 2, the lower cost of entry invited a number of people to the yard that hadn't previously been playing. Mom let them outside, so they got to have a good time and experience outside. And as a result, the tide rose all the ships. Once again, 2 factors. A decent quality, not stellar. There were Wild Rider issues issues, for one, and there were issues with Motormaster regarding his waist. This hasn't been a perfect set, but because the cost was so palatable, the sculpts were so good, and they were fairly well painted, it ended up being a net positive for their reputation. All good things. Now there's hints that the trailer is coming, right? And there's hints that it's going to come with all sorts of bells and whistles. You're not going to believe it. And then it hits, right? And it's two separate things. There's a trailer, there's an accessory pack. We're going to talk about the cost, and we're going to talk about what you get. So with the trailer, it comes with a sword, a gun, the bio card, and instruction booklet, and obviously integrates with their Motormaster and vehicle mode. The trailer turns into a base. For those who give a shit about that, the base incorporates all of the weapons as well. The base also forms the skeleton of Menasor. That's at $230. Then you get an accessory pack, and this is to clean it up, but it does come with a ton of stuff. You get the G1 car guns, you get some effects, you get 8 replacement faces for their Motormaster, and you get the shells to put on the robots. Now my question is, and I'm not sure, is whether or not in these other pictures that they're including the shells or not. I'm not sure that they are, but I don't know if they aren't. So there's some questions as to what does this thing look like without the shells as well. The accessory kit comes in at $75. Then that bears the question, why the high price? It's a total of $300 for cost of entry. I'm going to tell you why the high price. For one, they retooled it because it was too small. And I've made a point here on this channel to talk about how that height was going to be an issue. And to their credit, they retooled it, and now it's supposed to fit fairly well. But that's basically doing it over again, right? So that's going to eat up some cost. There's also electronics in it. Anytime there's electronics in anything, the cost goes up. I'm not one that needs electronics, so I'm not sure if that was the best move given how much this thing was going to cost already. Probably would have been a good idea to just 86 that, in my opinion. And then we hear reports, I believe from Show Z, that they are having to raise the price from $200, which was the MSRP from X-Transbots, to $230, based on an American retailer saying that they were going to raise theirs to $230, which people have told me is TF source. I'm not sure if that's true. I think that even the overseas distributors have called them out for it as well. I haven't spoken to TF source about it. I don't know what the level of truth is to it. I do know that when you're buying from X-Transbots in order to distribute, they don't tell you the shipping costs. So you make your order, you commit to your purchase, and then when it's ready to ship, they tell you what the shipping costs are for you. And sometimes they're more substantial than you would think. So that could be part of the reason why American retailers wanted to chalk the price up another $30, because shipping may have been a real kick in the nuts. But I don't think that $30 is a make or break thing anyway. I don't think if this set was $270 as opposed to $300 that it would have changed the way that people view it. So while it's unfortunate that there's another $30 in there and that the price was raised as a result of American distributors, namely TF Source, while that's unfortunate, we're talking about pennies on the dollar at this point. Like, it's already $270, which is more than a hot toy and half as much of a quarter scale statue. Let's continue. I was insulted by this price as well, but not by the price, by the distribution of the price. Let's take a look at it in comparison with its competitors. Shout out to Brian Brink of Enter the Realm and Breaking the Mold, who has provided these charts. I'm going to show you this graph that shows the price comparisons between the three companies in terms of how it's distributed versus what I'm getting ready to tell you. So the total cost of the DX9 Menasor at initial release, meaning if you bought each piece when they were initially released, is $560. The X-Transbot sits at $675, and the Fans Toys Menasor we don't really know. But if the rumors are true that the last ARM bot will contain the skeleton and therefore cost as much as Motormaster, then we're left to assume that it's $750. So when you look at it in that regard, all three are pretty comparable, and there's only a $75 difference in total between the X-Transbots and the Fans Toys. But there's two problems with that. For one, Fans Toys has distributed the cost across all 5 bots, where you're not buying just the accessory pack for a ton of money. You're not buying just the skeleton. You're buying the robot. So you get the toy, and yeah, it's expensive, and yeah, that sucks, but you're getting a whole figure with it. And while the trailer technically is a figure in and of itself, because it turns into the skeleton of this thing, it doesn't feel like it. This is about marketing and branding. This is about business. And the way that this was rolled out, so to speak, just wasn't smart. Here's the other problem. While those prices are comparable, $75 in difference, if the Fans Toys ends up being successful, it's not a $75 difference in quality. See, that's the thing. That's what X-Transbots nailed here, was they nailed their prices initially. So you have blowout products at crazy prices in comparison to blowout products at expected prices with the Fans Toys. So when you get a Fans Toys Wild Rider at $100 or $110, whatever it was, it felt like 110 bucks. But when you got the X-Transbots breakdown at 40 bucks, it felt like 80 bucks. It felt like you were robbing them for a change. And that's what made it seem so special. Now, what they should have done was calculated the cost of this trailer and split it up amongst all of the bots, so that when the trailer finally dropped, it wasn't $300 if you were getting the accessories as well. But they didn't. And now the only peace of mind that you have is to compare that with the fans toys. But X-Transbots is not and will never be fans toys. They're just not made of the same minerals. The other thing that you have to keep in mind is all of this is going along right in concert with other price raises from the same company. Cup increases $40 at its pre-order. And this is right on the heels of Dr. Egg, or whatever it's called, being almost $200. Robert D bought 3. Good night, Sally. So this is a company with all the money seemingly going up. The sweet spot for this accessory pack would have been $150 for all of it. The trailer and the accessories for $150, $175 tops. But at $300, it's gonna have to be perfect now. Because if it's not, they're gonna kill this thing. The people, the fans, everybody, they're already killing it. But if it's trash, they're really gonna kill it. And let's be honest, an X-Transbots product coming out and not being good is not something that's unfathomable. It's not unimaginable. It's quite imaginable. Now, they've been on a string of good luck here recently, and I applaud them for it. I love X-Transbots. I want to see them stick around. But they're playing in waters that they've got to keep their head above. At this price, they have to deliver. If they don't, the future's pretty grim. But the waters that they're competing in, there's no room for stuff breaking, plastic being flimsy. These are things that they have done in the past. Ratchets not being able to support the weight of the figure, these are things that they have done in the past. There's no room for that now. If you've decided to pass on the trailer set, I understand. Let me give you a piece of advice as to what you could do. You could use this set, which you've already invested in, as your robot mode, and go in a DX9, which is the next affordable for your combined mode. Or if you've been getting both along the way, just use X-Transbots as your robot mode, and use whatever else you were going in on for combined mode. For the past number of releases, X-Transbots has been increasing their quality, increasing their paint, increasing their expectations from the fandom, building a reputation, and more importantly, building a relationship with the fans of their products. And that's what leads me to the baseline point of why this stings. It's not the price, it's that they betrayed the trust that they've been building. A trust that was earned only on the strength of the fandom forgiving them for previous trespasses, of which there are too many to list. This is a trust issue. We trusted the price points. We trusted the quality. That's yet to be seen. They were also on record as to saying the accessories would be included in the trailer. We trusted them with that. We trusted the cup price point. And all of those things have fallen by the wayside. And I think that's what ended up stinging the most for everybody here. The cost obviously sucks, but it's the cost in concert with the violation of trust. Money, 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 hubba, hubba, who do you trust? Me? I'm giving a free money. And where is the Batman? So, we'll see. I'll be honest, I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to buy it. I probably will, but I'm not sure, because I'm not sure I need it. It was never going to be my combined mode. If I do buy it, but the only reason why I'm buying it is to review it. So I haven't decided. And if you haven't decided, I understand as well. But that's my thoughts and the little history on it. I think I've emptied the clip on this. This is one where I'm not sure I have anything else to say about it. It better be perfect. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.